Good morning again, Jubril. Good morning again, Elizabeth. Now we move for the second part of the model that will be related to the zero. So this is the model zero and vegetable food technology. The first video is about the vegetables. And now we move for the video related to the zeros one. I think that for both of you, maybe this part will be more applied for your research because both of you are going to be searching for cereals due to nutritional composition, of course, not only cereals, but the vegetables as well for the type model. But the cereal, I see that will be an important part for both. On the model, we are targeting more the raw materials, these vegetables and cereals as raw materials, raw sources to do the food transformation and to be starting the chain of the food valorization. The cereal grains are among the most widely consumed staple food globally. They are essential sources of carbohydrates, dietary fibers, and several vitamins and minerals. And the major cereal grains that we have are wheat, maize, rice, barley, and oats. Of course, depends on where we are on the planet. We will be searching or having more one of the crops than the other. And also the cultural importance. Like when we talk about Morocco, all of us, we know that Moroccans eat the main dish is always with the bread. So bread is made of wheat. Other parts of the globe, like Brazil, for us, it's not the bread, it's the rice, always aside on the same dishes. The cereal are a primary source of energy and also from essential nutrients, and are used in both on traditional and on modern diets. That's also linked to the way that we prepare and the way that we are doing the transformation of the cereals. And when we see the composition, the main composition from the nutritional part, the cereals are rich in carbohydrates and provide energy because you can burn the carbohydrates and produce energy, and not only not the storing the energy on the fat as a fat. Also, is rich in fiber, and as we said on the vegetables, will be supporting the digestive health. So more or less the same approach. That's why you combine cereals and legumes and vegetables together. And when we do the transformation, the cereals are versatile cereals in food products, and we can use like bread for pasta, for breakfast cereals, and the cereals became a cornerstone of the global food systems. Types of cereal grains that you may have. The cereal grains come in many varieties, and each type has its unique properties that include the usage that you have in food products. And some of the most widely used cereal grains include wheat, that's used in bread, pasta, and most of all the bakery products we will be using. Maize, used in cornmeal, tortillas, like the Mexican ones, the tortilla is very important for them. And also as animal feed. Rice, that's a staple food in many countries, particularly in Asia, but it's a common cereal that you may find in the entire globe. Oats, used in cereals, granola bars, oatmeal, and there's this appealing of when we have something made with oats is health, and the granola bars is considered very health, but of course the processing behind is very important because it's not going to be too sugary, and the appealing from the health that you may have from the oats we are going to be losing. Barley, that's used in soups, malt for brewing, and it starts to be very important crop as well due to the health related claim that they are having for the barley. It starts to be also used in combination with the wheat to increase the nutritional value from bread and other foods, other bakery goods. Each grain type requires specific processing techniques and has varying nutritional properties, and that be affecting the product development that you can be doing. Here are some examples of cereal grains, like I'll have the millet, barley, Japanese millet. Even if both Proso and Japanese are both millets, they have different compositions. We have several types and brands, varieties, let's say, of millets, finger millets. Then we have spelt. The gluten intolerant people, they're using spelta or spelt to produce bread because it starts to have some fun properties that may increase the quality and the winginess that we have on the bread. Typically also then fonio very well known in Africa. Sorghum starts to be well used. Teff comes from mainly from Ethiopia, but has interesting nutritional properties and also technical functional properties. And then we have pseudo cereal grains, amaranto, quinoa can be both, or sometimes we see classify as vegetable, sometimes classify as cereal. So I prefer to put here, but anyway, just to make you know that maybe sometimes you can find in different categories just because they are pseudo cereal. When we talk about publications, I'm trying to all time be linking what I'm talking about the publications that you can find. We have like communications and papers about almost everything. And here I have one article that's about cereal grain classification by optimal futures and intelligent classifiers. On that was already a publication. We have several ways to classify all types of foods, about the nutritional part, about the shape, about the color, about the sensorial effects, about the technical functional aspects that we see on the transformed food, on the raw material. So on this article, they are discussing about cereal grain classifications concerning the optimal features and on a easy way, intelligent classifier. That be a way to the producers or for the food industries to be using this as a data for the transformation. And here we have another publication, a book chapter about the major cereal grains production and use around the world. This chapter was really nice because it's trying to localize the cereals that you have and where we can source that on the planet. That's good because when we want to develop a new food product, we need to know the sources that have available close to us to avoid this transportation, the logistics that comes across. So that's also a good insight, and that give ideas when we want to publish articles. We need to publish to have to know where's the gap, what we can be discussing, what we can be addressing. To start, when we talk about the consumption, the cereals, we must know also the trends. I prefer to now start with the global cereal consumption trends to see why we're going on one way on the food industry and why we're coming back from the other approach. The global cereal consumption is growing, that's a fact, and particularly in emerging markets where cereals form a significant part of the daily diets. This trend is driven by urbanization, increased disposable incomes, and changing on dietary habits. Especially this changing on the habits from the consumers that drives the food industry to switch from one crop or one type of vegetables or cereals or other raw material sources that we are using. Because of the billing of the health related stuff or about the sustainability or the environment questions, or even because it's what the traditional, the cultural traditions are updating, and that reflects what the food industry must provide. Globally, as a trend, we see the demand for healthier whole grain cereals and gluten-free products is rising, and is particularly in developed markets. About the whole grains is quite well known because the full food, you can have the fibers that come on the outside layer from the grains, and so keeping the whole grain we keep the fibers, but I highlight the second part about the gluten-free products that we are having more this demand. That's not linked to the more people that are having the celiac disease or gluten intolerance. Is more related to the impression that the people has that one product that's gluten-free will be more healthier than the other that contains gluten. That's not like exactly true. It's not because we have gluten that's this food is healthier. It's better to one public. So we are talking about one public, the one that has the celiac disease. But there's no difference for who don't have this disease. But the media, the marketing, the appealing behind it makes that people in general think that the gluten-free is good for the health, even if they don't have any issue related to the ingestion of the gluten. We are also seeing the increased cereal consumption in developing countries and the growing demand for organic and whole grain cereals. We have this also impression that the organic is better for the health because there is less chemicals, less fertilizers, no less additives that may be injuring our health. That's discussable. We can prepare an article about that. From my point of view, if you use on the something that you're using on the agriculture must be well documented and be ensured that's healthy for the consumers. So if you are using it, because it should be safe. But of course, we know that some farmers, they exceed the dosage of the fertilizers, additives, because they want to produce more. But that could be even a debate. And another trend, the rising interest in gluten-free and plant-based cereal products. We discussed about the plant-based vegetable products, but also we may have the plant-based cereal products, or more or less same approach, but using cereals instead of vegetables. Here we have some insights about the market. Here the breakfast cereal market. We can see that the cereal breakfast market is growing here from 2024 to 2025 compared to the estimation, the expectations for 2032. That will be growing almost 5%, 5.54% per on this gap of on this period. The market is passing for $38 billion to almost $58 billion. Only about the breakfast cereals, so it's huge. And the drivers for this change, for this increasing, is increasing demand for convenience food, the rising popularity of processed foods in emerging economies. So like the markets where people was more used to be preparing the food at home. Now they're using the convenience food that was already pre-processed and easy to end the processing at home. So that of course is linking to the increase of the market demand for the cereals. About the industry development, Kellogg's, one of the main brands from India, launched a new breakfast cereal product offering named fruit slopes for consumers. So they are selling the idea from the health related correlation to the cereals. Sometimes a false image, like this, the fruit loops relating to the fruits, but it's not fruit, it's like just a flavor and a lot of sugar. But we have this being seen on the market. We have some well-established distribution channels, especially in the markets like North America. We have some also well-established markets in Asia. In some other parts of the continent, we still have not stable markets or distribution chains. The ones that we have well-established distribution channels will be more related to the markets, hypermarkets, supermarkets, not only for the small sellers. And the most frequent type would be the ready-to-eat cereals, the box that you have for the breakfast, and more to hot cereals than the cold ones. We have more, even other publications here about ready-to-eat cereal consumption patterns and trying to establish the relationship to nutrient intake, whole grain intake, and also with what we see on the body. So here they took just one index, the most simple one, that was the body mass index, and with a specific population that was the older American populations. This article has already 15 years almost, but it still is a good approach. They took one type of food that was the cereal, ready-to-eat cereals, and tried to correlate with something with a specific public. This type of study wasn't done so far in Africa, or very short, small initiatives was seen, so still there's a whole gap there to be explored. When we talked about the consumption per capita of the cereals, we see that in the Morocco is among the one of the most important markets for the cereals. On this article, we have the study of sustainability assessment of the main cereals market in Morocco, evaluating the production and also correlated to the important importations that are done. Morocco is between the huge consumers of cereals, mainly due to this cultural bread eating habit, and that makes it reach almost 255 kilos per capita per year. That's almost 4 times the world average. And this article was studying exactly that. So quite nice study, and it's still fresh, 2023, and there's still much to be done related to that. Cereals, we need to also see the cereal itself from the nutritional composition. I talk all the time about the nutritional, sensorial, and so talking about nutrition properties and chemical composition. Cereals are significant sources of energy and nutrition. They are primarily composed of starch, but also contain proteins, fat, vitamins, and minerals. The carbohydrates are the main energy source here. Between carbohydrates that main five cereals, the starch are the main carbohydrate source. And the proteins provide amino acids that usually, just don't say always, but usually is lower than the animal sources, the protein content that we find there. Also, the quality is not the same. And on the proteins, we can have the gluten and wheat that provides the structure in baked goods. Fiber, that's essential for digestive health and helps regulate the blood sugar. So especially when you have the whole cereal, we can increase the amount of the fibers. You have vitamins and minerals. All the foods, all the materials, all the raw sources, we may have vitamins, minerals, but of course, what changes the type. You can have vitamin A, B, C, D, or whatever. And on the cereals, we find the B family vitamins, and we can also have a good source of iron. Of course, depends on the cereal that we are talking, and magnesium. Concerning the fats, the presence is in small amounts and mainly in the germ. And when we talk about the white cereal or transformed cereal, or we talk also about the whole grain. And when we talk about the whole grain, that will be including the whole grain, the brand, the German, and everything that's will be used in the transformation. Here we have some publications about the nutritional aspects of cereals. One interesting point about these publications from the British Nutrition Foundation. This article has 325 citations, so that's one way that you can judge if this article is good or not. And so I can say that's good. It's very well cited. Another article, we have the vitamins in cereals. This article is doing a critical review of content, health effects, processing losses, bioaccessibility for fortification, and biofortification strategies for the improvement. It's a review, but still is a recent one, and it's targeting the vitamins in cereals. Of course, we can target a sub-publication, let's say, that be vitamins in one of these type of foods or type of cereals from Morocco, from Nigeria, and also the same type of study, and we can have more complete data because we're going to be deeper on the study. Here are some cereals and the table about the energy, protein, carbohydrates, fibers, and fat. Proteins, carbohydrates, and fat are the macronutrients. We are not going to talk about the vitamins and minerals here. To have an idea, the wheat gives us 339 kilocalories and has 30 grams for protein. Then we have some other types of grains, spelta or spelt. That's one of the replacers being used by the Silic people, and the color is a little bit third from the wheat, but the protein content is lower, the carbohydrates are lower, and fat almost no fat. Then we have the millet, several types, calories around 370, 330, 360. Then the proteins, more or less between 7, 9, 11, let's say around 10, more or less same range. Psyllium, oats, more or less half of the calories from the wheat, but the proteins are very low. Give the part of oats, that's carbohydrates lower than the wheat, and we can have these tables of compare the types of flours that may be used to bakery production or only compared from the local sourced cereals and so on. To source these cereals, you always try to source as close as we can from the local where we're doing the transformation or the processing of the food. And the climate change or the climate that surrounds this production will be affecting what type of cereals that can be produced and the amount we are being produced. So, of course, if the climate affects the production, the climate change will be affecting production. So the climate change is having a significant impact on the cereal production, affecting the crop yields. the quality and the geographical distribution of some key cereal grains. We have increased draws in temperature fluctuations that be affecting the yield. All the crops, they have optimal temperature that grows and they give us the best yield. So when we are below or over this temperature, we are reducing the production that we find on the end. The changing of the growing seasons and also correlation to the crop diseases will be affecting the crops that will be the cereal that will be harvesting. And we also have the development of climate resistant cereals. So genetics approach should be addressing this challenge. So we have the draw, we have salinity, we have the water scarcity, and that so on. So the tools that we can target from the field to go to the fork, we can target doing the agronomic approach or genetic approach from the field, the seed science, and then to arrive to us as food technologies to the transformation on the end. We have some adaptation strategies, such as development of drought-resistant varieties, implementing sustainable farming practice to mitigate this effect, and also use sustainable farming practice. Very important that we ensure a stable providing of the raw material for our processing. Of course, as usual, we have some publications in here about the change in cereal production caused by the climate change here in Malaysia. I could not find about Morocco, but we can see these patterns. They're evolving, not for bad, not for good, but changing. So how we can adapt that, and if you need have some change on the raw materials that we are sourcing, us as food industry, we need to tailor or adapt our ways to produce this food. And the other publication, also the same, the impacts of climate conditions on cereal production and how it correlates with food security in Africa. If you are changing the pattern of the production of the cereals, and this fits is an important source for this food that we have in Africa. Of course, the food security that ensure the amount are available to the person that's needing, the moment that it's needing on the correct price, the accessibility, and so on. So how the impact of the climate conditions are affecting the whole food security system. Then to be ensured that when we have these constraints and we want to promote the nutrition, we can use some tools. One of these tools is the bioengineering, especially applied to cereals to improve nutritional content and ensure that we are bringing the best quality that we can for our food to our consumers. These bioengineering techniques can be genetic modifications, selective breeding, and all that be reflecting on the nutritional profile of the cereals, making them richer in essential nutrients. And this can be also higher the protein content, improve the amino acid profiling, ensuring that we have the essential amino acids there. And we have one example, that's the golden rice. That's an example of biofortification, especially thinking about vitamin A. And that's also the increasing of these crops to the past in environmental stress. Here at ASARI, we know already that you have the group from agriculture marginal lands. They are working deeply and harder on that. So that's our way to target the global food security. Here, what have been done according to this bioengineering to target the food security. We have this publication about bioengineering cereal carbohydrates to improve human health. Then we have also nutritional improvement of cereals by sprouting. That's another technique. And here we can see this golden rice about the normal rice, gold rice type 1, and gold rice type 2. These two rices are two genetic modified varieties of rice that is some engineer behind this production and can produce increasing protein, the amount of vitamin or provitamin A, so it's combating the vitamin A deficiency. To process the cereal, we cannot eat the cereal as like the way it come with the flour there and eat like that. We need to undergo cereal some of processing methods like milling, extrusion, drying, blending, smashing. Then that will be helping to convert then into the usable forms of food production. I'm not going to generalize, but the cereals are mainly most of them need some processing before consumption. That's different from the vegetables because the vegetables you can eat as salad without just the washing, small processing. They're already suitable for consumption, but on the case of cereals, there's more processing to be done. And all these processings will be affecting the texture, flavor, and nutritional properties, of course, of the final products, then making them suitable for some specific applications. The milling, one important one, is that's the grinding of cereals to make them become flour and also to be used for the meal preparation. Extrusion, that's one of the I think that's one of the top methods that may be applying. That's the heating and forcing CO through the molds. Then that's the way that this technique that you use to produce the breakfast cereals and snacks. And I think that's really good technique because you can have higher quality of cereals and try to keep the vitamins and minerals inside to have some snacks that are good for the health and can provide the nutritional benefits for the young consumption and is stable because the microbiological load that we have after distillation since we use heat is lower. Of course, it needs to be the precision extraction, not only the extraction process it's alone, but how we do it. So be targeting this nutrition that we have on the end. And we have many and several other methods like flaking, puffing, and others that probably you know also. Here we have a mailing system for the wheat and publications related to that. It's like here only discussing about the milling and how to form the breakfast cereals. And here we have also another publication about the effects of cereals milling on the content of phytic acid and the stability of minerals and protein. When we talk about food science technology, we are all time trying to have the best food on the end of the chain and also linking to the quality of the raw material that you have. When we talk about food science, we're talking about the quality, the physical chemical parameters, the more the raw materials, the quality it has, and the technology transformation process, the immersion technology. And one of the parameters that may be discussing is the stability. Sometimes we have the compound that's present on the food, on the raw material, and also on the end of the chain product, but the human body is not able to absorb. So we need also to make it biodegradable and be promoting the shape of this molecule will be the way that the people can take advantage of that. So here they are talking how the milling can affect the distribution of minerals and proteins. Some other publications, like here you have the extraction process. This is an industrial apparatus to be doing the cereals, the breakfast cereals, the shape of the breakfast cereals. We have the ones that are more simple, less processed, less sugar, and maybe more healthy. And the extreme processed ones, maybe both are the fourth and extrusion process. And we need to understand the impact of distribution treatments in cereals. And here I have this publication discussing that, about insights from alterations in starch physical chemical properties and how it affects the in vitro digestion. So sometimes we have the same process, that for flakes they are using the same process, but the impact on the end of the products are completely different. As we had for the vegetables, also here we have the quality control and the challenge related to the processing of the cereals. The quality control in cereals ensures, of course, that the final product meets the safety, the flavor, the texture, and nutrition standards. Some key factors include the moisture control, especially because the moisture, the water, are related to the spoilage. The texture, that's related to the sensory part. That's related to the consistency, crunchiness, and the mouthfeel. That's all parameters related to the consumer on the end, how they will perceive this transformed food, the flavor, to ensure the freshness and to avoid off flavors. And to ensure that, we need to have some consistent quality control during the entire process chain to ensure that we have the uniformity and to prevent spoilage or any other type of contamination. Contamination may be molds, bacteria, but it can be also some chemical residue and others. Concerning the food industry, the cereal food industry, we have some publications as usual. And here we have one publication about the imaging microscopy and how we can do the automatic quality control of cereals. There's some devices that use imaging to check the quality of the cereal matrices that you have. And the cereals are deeply related to the mycotoxins contamination. So we want to avoid that because the mycotoxins is a toxin, so we don't want that the consumer will be ingesting that. This other journal, I think that's really nice. We probably will be thinking that we can publish that on the trends in food science and technology. As the title of this journal says, we represent the trends in food science and technology, and we are working on the trends in food science and technology. So here they are presenting the recent advances in assessing the quality and quantitative aspects of cereals using the non-destructive techniques. That's a way that the food industry is going to try to develop tools that we can assess the quality, nutritional quality, and also the security parameters by image, like using chemometry tools. Umaymash is expert on the chemometrics, so that's a way to go on the food industry. And also we have another journal that published a special edition related specifically about the cereal processing and quality control technology. To avoid contaminations, of course, we need to have some storage conditions that are being well established and respected. So we need to have the proper storage and preservation of cereals, and that are a critical step that we need to will be correlated to the quality and to prevent the spoilage. Techniques such as the control atmosphere are commonly used, and also the freezing and the drying are commonly used. So for the cereals, it's interesting to be stored in cool, dry, and at-fire conditions. Usage of the vacuum sealing or the modified atmosphere is also welcome. And the freezing can preserve the cereal quality for long periods. Here we have when we see these, there are more, probably there's some cereals inside. And we have some publications discussing about cereal storage techniques how we can store, even the amount, the shape, the size, the height of the silos that can be impacting the quality of the product that we have on the end in the shelf life. Some old studies was even thinking about the nitrogen atmospheres on the silos, but anyway, it's a little bit old. And we saw that nowadays not that interesting to be using this type of preservation. But when sometimes we think that we have some great ideas, new ideas, I just say to you, try to check what people have done about that. Because we saw some scientists that was trying to come back for this idea about these modified atmospheres. We use nitrogen on the modified atmosphere, but not 100% nitrogen. The zeros, the initial products, the raw material, the raw sources, and our target is to have the nutritional, tasty, safe, zero-based food on the end of the chain. And here, which are the zero-based food products? The cereals are the foundation of many foods, especially the bakery and the breakfast foods. And they are used in a wide variety of applications from bread to snacks. Examples, easy to think, bread, pasta, breakfast cereals, snacks. The cereals we can fortify them. We have several pros for fortification. We have the crop fortification when we still didn't have done the harvesting. Also, we can have on the part of the processing to keep the nutritional part, and also can do the FD processing to adding new vitamins and cereals artificially to enhance their health benefits. Usually the fortifications with vitamins are more about the B vitamins and the minerals, iron. We have the anemia, that's a common issue in Africa, so if we can fortify with iron is good because we are targeting this health concern. And also we see often on the market the fortification with the group B vitamin, B1, B2, B6. We have the zero-based convenience foods that are a segment of the market. There. Here we have a book with the zeros and zero-based foods, the functional benefits, technological advances, and for nutrition and healthcare. Here we have just an example from the whole cereal that we have on the beginning, the processes that it's being undergoing, and how is the zero-based process on the end. Here you have, for example, the wheat, the maize, the sorghum. The process are the milling. Sometimes you have these proteins. Proteins is really nice. It's something that I wish one day our group be studying that. But so far we don't have hands to be doing that as well. In the processing, you have distillation, milling, other type of milling, and also can do pasteurization. Sometimes we think about pasteurizing. We connect the idea, pasteurization milk or dairy products. But we can do the pasteurization or thermal treatments, all the food products. Of course, we have the thermal impact there, so it may have some issues there. And here, the zero-based products that was on the end of the chain, what we would develop it when we did this processing. Can be bread, cookies, and the form that we have from the peptides, or the proteins, the amino acids, and so on. After that, you do the processing from the cereals, you have or the peeling or the process. We separate some parts of the grain, or the whole grain on the beginning. Like the bran and the germ, but both of them, they are still rich in the nutritional way, and can be used to produce other food products. Like the bran is high in fiber, and can be used in baked goods and cereals. Germ, it's rich in nutrition, can be used in oils and some supplements. And the endosperm can be used in refined flours. And these byproducts are often not deep explored, so they still underutilized. Even if they have higher fiber, vitamins, and minerals, that could be contributing to the entire cereal industry and also targeting at the same time the goal from the sustainability. But it's not what we see completely being done. So there's still a lack there and an opportunity there. And the byproducts are increasing being used in functional foods. Not always for the human consumption, but for forage you see more often for animal feed. And when you see the spoilage that's a little bit high, it cannot be used for food or feed. Then we have the biofuel or the energy. You can produce energy from that from the fermentation process. Here, the cereal processing byproducts. Here we have the microbial fermentation, the reactor. If you see this image, you can see that you have a fermenter there, a bioreactor, really this shape that we have on the lab. Then can do enzymatic treatments, or you can do extrusion. That one I like because it's really simple, extrusion one, and the results are good. And the three types would be enhancing the nutrition, bioaccessibility, and the applicability that we have from the product. And a chapter talking about cereal byproducts, valorization in bakery, pastry, and gastronomy products manufacturing. One hot topic about the cereals nowadays is the gluten-free. Some cereals like rice, corn, oats are being used to target this concern that we have from the consumers. So especially dedicated to the people that has the celiac disease or some gluten sensitivity. So we are using this type of other cereals to replace on the chain, on the production chain, to produce the same goods on the end, but using different raw materials on the beginning. We have a growing demand for gluten-free products, and that led to an increase in the use of gluten-free cereals that can be offered at the same time nutritional benefits and texture to gluten-free foods. And as I said, the most common gluten-free cereals are rice, corn, oats, and quinoa. When we do the analytical part from these cereals, sometimes we have some rarities or do the genetics tools that we are targeting there, that we are playing there. We still may find some cereals, even if they should be gluten-free with the gluten. So we need to pay attention when we are doing this playing on the lab to produce something new, what type of effects we are seeing on the end. And so we have some nutritional benefits that can be affecting the texture and the quality of the food. So grains that contain gluten, we have wheat, rye, barley, and triticale, and the ones that are gluten-free, rice, quinoa, amaranto, sesame, chia, sorghum, oats, millet. They are labeled like gluten-free, but we always need to be checking. And these gluten-free grains, when we are doing processing, usually due to technological concerns, will end up mixing with some type of gluten-containing grains. But there's some studies that are trying to combine the good combination between these grains, gluten-free grains, to replace the technological functional properties from the gluten on the gluten-containing grains. Here we have this, what I just said about the development of the gluten-free breads. Here are some recent practical research that was being developed. about the how to combine that, how the tools that we can develop to do that. And here's the shape, how is the gluten-free bread. Uh, the shape, the color, the air globals inside, probably affect the fermentation, probably the taste, but that are gluten-free bread, so at least they exist, right? Uh, some other innovations that you may find on cereal-based food, that could be the high protein linked to the product, to the type of food that you are targeting. So the new approaches are to high protein and high fiber cereals for health conscious consumers, gluten-free and allergen-free cereals, and also the fortification with vitamins and minerals. These are the three main tendencies that we are seeing on the in food industry related to cereals. Um, uh, Translated to the market, these are two commercial products that we see that are gluten-free and that are protein cereals with the cocoa, with the cinnamon, and we can do some other types of alternatives on the food product development. When we do the food product development, we can change one simple matrix there on the material and be a new food product. The nutrition composition that we have on the end, the taste, everything will be changing. So here are publications about the development and quality evaluation of cereal-based protein to enrich other food prototypes. Also the rise of protein cereal, inventing breakfast for the modern consumer, another publication that's from last year. And also another one about development of protein-rich pre-gelatinized whole grain. So also this pre-gelatinization that helps the digestion and can increase also its sensory attributes from the gluten-free food products. One way also to go on to increase the stability and bioavailability of the nutritional compounds is doing the fermentation. And so the fermentation of cereal grains plays an essential role in the production of functional foods, improving the digestibility and adding probiotic benefits. The fermented cereals are used in the production of health promoting foods. Fermentation enhances the nutritional and functional properties of cereals and produce cereal beneficial bacteria that are the probiotics for the good health. Then we have some examples here of cereal products that are produced using fermentation. Some examples are the tempeh, miso, and other fermented products. We have the publications about that. Food Bioscience is also a good journal for on our field. Here you have African cereal-based fermented foods, how it affects the microbiota, functional microorganisms, start cultures, and nutritional properties. Another journal, Food Research International, good one as well, about the cereal-based fermented foods and beverages. So sometimes you want to do the literature review, we want to go deeply on something, but what we need to find is the gap. And the gap here was the entire cereal-based fermented foods and beverages. Discussion about that. Another review about the fermentation by technology applied to cereal industry by products. Here they're targeting byproducts, the peel, the seeds, and so on. And how it affects nutritional and functional, some nutritional and functional insights. Here, one commercial product that you can find, the fermented soy. On the end of the chain, we need to package this material, what we did, to extend shelf life and keep the freshness and ensure the product safety. Some modern packaging also emphasize the sustainability. As I said, for vegetables here as well, we use a modified chemistry packaging to reduce oxidation and try to extend shelf life. Then we can use the vacuum sealing and airtight packaging to preserve freshness. And we may have also some sustainable packaging materials, because we're thinking about the biodegradable concerns to be recyclable and so on. And related to the packaging, some researchers are doing some producing the bioplastics for the food packaging using cereals. So there can be all at the same time the container and the content. So you can have the cereals being packed on a cereal-based biodegradable packaging. Uh, we can do some fortification. I think that I mentioned that when I said the other slide. But you can target also the processing to have some fortifications to address some deficiencies like the fortification with iron, but by vitamins, and the whole fortifications as a public health concern. Here, you can do the nutrition improvement of cereals by fermentation, as I mentioned before. You can do the investment of to combat the global food security challenge and the potential nutritional and functional improvement of structured breakfast cereals based on incorporation of fruit and vegetable byproducts. And here, one of the 45 cereals, multigrain, that we have on the market. Here we are clear having the appealing of the label of 9 vitamins and minerals that were added there. When people think about cereals, they all the time are correlating to the health benefits. Some of these benefits are well known, not the others not that much, but like the cereals are an excellent source of energy and nutrients, that's clear. We have the concern about the gluten intolerance, and okay, let's talk about the benefits. We have the heart health, that some cereals can be used to prevent chronic diseases, improve the digestion and helps the gut microbiota. The cereals can be used for the weight management and some concerns, gluten intolerance, the glycemic index, and it's important that the consumers try to focus or target more about the whole grains to maximize these health benefits that we have from the cereal. Kellogg's took advantage of that, and it's like a labeling or the their website or the packaging with the benefits of cereals. So, and also they are indicating incorporating of breakfast cereals as part of balanced breakfast provides a great opportunity to include important benefits of grains in the diet. That's real, but of course they are not mentioning about the sugar that they are adding and etc. But they are stating that. So they're talking that they're not only convenient foods, but also provide the much needed nourishment. And not only the commercial brand, but the articles are also the same. The benefits of breakfast cereal consumption. Here they did a systematic review. And another publication saying that makes me question, can regular long-term breakfast cereals consumption benefits lower cardiovascular diseases and manage the diabetes risk? We still have the question there. We see consumers about the demand for organic and gluten-free cereals. This is tendency for I think that still for a few years we'll be discussing the same. And there's this demand for organic and gluten-free cereals. Most thinking about the health and environment concerns, about the intolerance, and also about the type of diets when we have a choice, like the vegan and vegetarian diets. So also for these plant-based vegetables and plant-based cereals are growing on the demand, especially because the animal welfare, the people that choose to be to exclude any type of animal food sources from their diets. So that of course will be increasing the needs and the demand for the plant-based food. Sometimes we are thinking that people that are targeting gluten-free also be prefer organic, but so this study they did this assessment. The consumers who prefer gluten-free also prefer organic, and indeed found a correlation that most more people that are are searching for gluten-free are also searching for organic. Even if the concepts are different, people are linking about the health related issues. Um, we can have this type of studies, we can have other studies that are doing correlations. We have also consumer satisfaction with the quality and availability of gluten-free products. Of course, depends on the market. If you go for Layoon market, we don't have many gluten-free food here available. If you go for, I don't know, Spain, he may find much more, of course, but because of the need and also because of the diagnosis of the celiac disease. Here is not that common to be doing this type of survey, medical surveys or studies. So of course, you're going to be find that much. Here, the global organic cereals market size that's growing from 2024, almost $14 billion. And that is expected to reach almost $52 billion by 2033. These zero substitutes start to be increasing and as emerging products, and this mainly in response to dietary preference and some allergies that our consumers are facing. And so we have this growing interest and some cereals that are being more target or present on these substitutes are quinoa, though its quality protein or high protein content, the fiber content, and because it's gluten-free. Amaranth, that's rich in essential amino acids and antioxidants. Also, millet, because it's nutritional, it's raw tolerant, so it can be a good alternative for rice and wheat, especially rice because rice demands a lot of water. So quinoa and amaranth are good examples for the increased use of gluten-free substitutes and also associated to their health benefits. We have these publications from the functional cereal products for those with gluten intolerance. Then an update food composition data database for cereal-based gluten-free products in Spain. E-circulation moving on or no. So here I think that the keywords, the database that we need, but we need to be specific, like here they have Spain, but you can do the same approach for the entire globe, and there's a lot, many countries are still missing this type of study. Here, the sorghum as an alternative cereal for gluten-free products. Here, this was a study done in Spain, so you can see the title that's in Spanish. Also, not only the solid food, also can have some beverage, liquid food. So cereals, vegetables, they're all time being related to the health, so health benefits. Cereal-based dietary fibers, particularly from whole grains, are essential for maintaining digestive health, lowering cholesterol, and supporting cardiovascular health. The whole grain, as a rich source of dietary fiber, has the benefits of promoting digestion, reducing cholesterol, and regulating blood sugar. Examples: oat, barley, wheat. Several articles are discussing that. This one's health benefits of cereal fiber. The review here is this clinical trials. Sometimes you have some insights and sometimes you have clinical trials. Here, when you have the clinical trials, it's sure that the results there. That is real result, I mean. The review about cereal dietary fiber, a natural functional ingredient to deliver phenolic compounds into the good health. So it's good. dietary fiber from whole grain and their benefits on metabolic health, and yeah, the type checks of dietary fibers about the whole grain as well. The future trends in cereal-based foods would be to lower the sugar content, increase the high protein, and as I said several times about the gluten-free production, and also to try to have some sustainable sourcings and to have the packaging that's adequate to these food products. Something also then we can see on the food industry correlating with the nutritional sector. That's the personalization and functional foods tailored to the specific health needs. That's the precision nutrition. Of course, we are food science and technology. We're not targeting nutrition itself. But when we have this need, we need someone that be producing the food according to the composition that are marketed. So this can be something interesting to be studied. That's the personalization and function tailored to specific health. Here we have about these on foods. They're discussing about the product and process innovation of cereal-based products. It was a project held by a team from Italy, and they already are. It was a 3 years study, and they already closed that. But they're targeting exactly that: the product and process innovations on cereal-based products. Here we have the reformulation of couscous with its processed buckwheat, the physical chemical properties and soil characterization assessed by Essence. Essence is a tool, a device that can be assessing that, not a consumer study. Here, IATA is where I did my PhD many years ago. And they have a group, a research group dedicated to cereals, and they do quite good research there. And this one of the researchers that's innovation, quality, and development of cereals-based foods. On both of you, we are going more or less on this way. Of course, not specifically about the cereal cornflakes that we are doing. You have specific tools and needs, and one of the fortification, other for the reduced fermented foods. All these are innovations that are shaping the global food system. We are inside of that. Here we have the amount of teff production and processing, how it is done, for how it is being used. Teff is coming from Ethiopia and going for the teff production and processing. And we have high nutritional value, gluten-free cereal with a lot of the essential amino acids that are present. And you have minerals. Then this was a staple food from Ethiopia and now it's spread the globe. About this step, we have also publications. It was a staple food, now it's globally being used. So that's the tendency of what we may find on our surroundings to do this type of study. This year also was focus of a special issue of a journal for the International Journal of Food Science Technology, a special issue entitled Cereal-Based Foods, Novel Process to Improve Safety and Nutritional Quality. So we are in our group we are talking about food safety a lot. So also the nutrition parameters, preservation, extension of life. That's some key words that you are using. Sometimes we are talking about the extension of life, increase nutritional composition, but we need to be assessing how the consumers are seeing what we are proposing to them. We know the consumers are changing, are shifting toward a healthier option. Trying to include whole grains, low sugar products, gluten-free varieties, and so on. So this perception and change on the markets, we have the health conscious consumers that are demanding for cleaner labels and more nutritious options. We have the increased focus on sustainability and ethical sourcing in consumer products, and the growth of niche markets, gluten-free, think about keto diets, organic, and so on. And all this is driving innovations in the cereal industry with a focus on clean labels, traditional staple foods are being used in the processing, locally ingredient sourcing, and common sense that to improve the nutritional composition. Here we have the whole grains and ancient wheats, the knowledge, attitudes, and consumption behavior, and sensory linking of breads among this study was done in the United States, but ancient wheats, that was a old way to produce the wheat and how it is being used now, because now also the consumers are trying to come back to what was being done in the ancient eras and try to take the benefits what was being done before and try to use that now. Then we have the whole grains, also to correlate with the health. And how is the consumer behaving? The attitudes to whole grains against a prevailing background of increased marketing and promotion. And publications there. So the innovations, I think I never said before, sorry. So about the use of estrogen to create gluten-free breakfast, the new processing techniques to enhance nutritive retention and shelf life. And also we have this increased interest in functional cereal-based products like fortified cereals. Here the publications about this tendency is about novel gluten-free breakfast cereals. The estrogen processing, the cooking processing from rice and teff. The teff is from Ethiopia that I mentioned. Rice, a common staple from several countries, maybe in Asia, South America also used a lot. The use of agricultural byproducts in distributed gluten-free breakfast cereals to increase the nutritional composition. And here the shape that we have from some cereals, like the spent cereal rings, the not that healthy one. Then we have cereals with the wheat bran, how it looks. The spent cereals with chocolate, sometimes can be chocolate itself, can be only the flavor, the spent rice and cornflakes. I have a second activity for you that's the same that I mentioned about the on the first part on confirmed vegetables. One of you will be targeting about focus on a cereal-based breakfast product, could be oatmeal, muesli, granola, others. And the other about the cereal-based snack products, can be cereal bars, snack chips, gluten-free cereals, whatever you want. And what I want you to do is to search for a type of cereal. I want to do the evaluation from this food product concerning the nutrition content, the challenges in sourcing the raw materials to produce this food, the processing methods that are being applied. If you choose the extrude one, the extrusion process, there's the heat behind, the packaging that are used, the demand for the consumers, like if you go for cornflakes, the consumers are asking what healthier, organic, gluten-free options. These options are available in the market, not available in the market, and if it's adapted to the local context, or are some niche markets or special markets that you can find these products. And I want on the end that you give a written report, 1-2 pages, not more than that, explaining the raw material selection for this food, what was the proposed processing methods, and how this choice is affecting the consumers on the end. I hope that was clear. I try to don't be put too much concepts that are abroad. I know that the most more than I have to know already, just to give an insight or some to provoke some discussions about vegetables and cereals as raw materials that are going to be using on the food science and technology. and now that you'll be working on that during the PhD itself. So I hope that was clear enough. If not, yeah, you know where you can find me. Okay. So you end this second video. I'm gonna send the first one, the second one for you, and then so with some instructions, probably with some guidance in what you need to do now. Okay. See you, and I hope that you have a pleasant day or night. I don't know when you're gonna be watching this video.